with the injuries you guys have at linebacker right now, what have you seen from the currently healthy members of those group, and what do they need to do to perform at their best this weekend?
Yeah, I'm just thankful we got depth at pretty much all the positions. So if somebody goes down, then we do have somebody who can step in. I think John did a good job with a couple of plays that he was able to play in the game, and then even got down to Logan Brantley, who came in and played and did a good job. So we're just happy we got some depth, and those guys are playing well, and they played at a high level so far. We just got to keep that going, and them getting practice reps and everything like that is just helping us to improve. So just excited about that position and what they've been doing, and they've been making a lot of plays. And Trey has done a good job making plays when he's been in, so we still have some leadership and some guys there, which is really exciting.
With the dual threatness of both Rahula, what are some of the challenges he kind of provides you guys out there?
Yeah, he's an amazing quarterback. Probably one of the best that I've seen in my college time, just what he's able to do with his feet and his arm. And so that always adds a little extra to it, and it's a huge challenge for us. And so we're just excited to go out and play him. He's doing a great job. Even watching back in his Penn State tape, he did a tremendous job there. He was just behind another, draft pick. And so, sometimes that's just how the way it goes in this game. But that's a great gig, great pickup for them, and it's going to be a huge challenge for our guys on Saturday.
We saw Bengali get used in a lot of different ways against Fresno State. Not having him, how much does that impact your ideal plan of what you maybe thought?
The great thing about, our defense is that we got a lot of different ways to adjust and do a lot of different things with some guys, but yet keeping it simple. So we got things in our game plan that can fit, Bengali, if he's able to get out there for us. And then we got things to, fit John if he's in. Even with Logan, we got things to fit him. So that's the beauty of the defense and what we're able to do. Naturally, when you lose, somebody like, Bengali, it does make a difference. But, like I said, it's good we got the depth and guys able to stand up and help us out and help us win a football game. And that's always the most important thing.
More broadly, Missouri had a lot of success in the run game in their first game. Just what stands out to you about that part of their offense?
I think it's everything about their offense, not just their run game. They had 600 yards offense, so they did a heck of a job, and they're probably one of the most talented teams that I've seen since I've been in college. Up with I played an Oklahoma team once that had Baker Mayfield, and they had everybody was a draft pick on the team, and this Missouri team reminds me a lot of that. They're just extremely talented. They're big up front. They fit the profile that you're looking for. They got fast guys on the edges. They got one of the best running backs in the nation, what they do, and we just talked about the quarterback being special. So run game, pass game, I think they're able to do anything when you put up the type of yards and type of numbers that they put up. So it's going to be a huge challenge for our guys.
For John specifically, how much of a learning experience can last Friday be for him?
Are you speaking as far as the penalty, or
just for the penalty, but also knowing you have to keep yourself in the game, especially when you speak about the depth.
Yeah, sometimes those penalties are kind of just bang bang plays. His aiming point was actually a good aiming point, but if the running back ducks down, then all of a sudden it's a penalty. That's a tough rule. In college football, something I hope they look at in the future. I don't think a play like that should be penalized and get kicked out the game. I think it should be a 15-yard penalty. If you get two of them, then I'll probably kick a guy out. But I think that's a very high penalty for a bang mistake that you make. So hopefully our rules committee can look at something like that and not just punish guys so much for what they do. But I think that's a learning experience for all of us. Just knowing that we can't tackle it with our head, which we don't work on. We work on trying to tackle the proper way. So I think that's a good learning lesson that we were able to show the team there, and just how valuable all. But I don't want guys to slow down how fast they're playing and how physical they're playing. So you don't want to slow down guys in that way. We try to play fast, physical for each other, and I think that's what he was trying to do on that particular play. It just happened to be a time where he was tackling with the top of his head, which you can't do.
With Taylor Davis in particular, what have you liked about what he's brought defensively?
Yeah, I've really been excited just about the enthusiasm that he plays with, and he's a great teammate. And being back in that safe position, man, he's the ultimate communicator back, with our Mike linebacker. So his communication's been great. I appreciate that Taylor has improved each and every day. He's come to work each and every day, and he's gotten so much better. And you look at last season where he started the year down on scout team. you know, and then at the end of the year he ended up starting, and then he kind of took that mantle and kept going, and he's really been a beam of light for a lot of guys there, and a great example for some of these guys in this program who might not be in the position that they want to be in right now, but if you keep working, you keep pounding the rock, eventually you can get to where you want to get to. So he's been a guy that we pointed to a lot in meetings, is what it means to really work hard in this program and what the rewards that you can get from working hard.
What have you seen from that hawk position with Mason and Saeed Gibbs?
I think they've done a good job. They've done what we asked in the defense. They've covered really well for us. Then they've been physical and they've tackled really well. And they've given us some flexibility to do some things in this defense that maybe we weren't able to do in the past, but now we're able to do. So I'm excited to see how we can continue to grow that position and continue to do a couple of things schematically that can help us, as we continue to go, hopefully this Saturday and down the road.
How nice is it to see DJ Graham back, especially with the youth in that cornerback room?
It's nice to get any guy who's injured back, and so that's good. And he's done a good job, and he's everything that we thought he was in the spring. And now he's back healthy is good. He got a couple plays underneath his belt, which is great. And now he's moving around even better this week, so we're expecting bigger and better things from him as he goes. And glad that he got some plays against Wagner, get himself going, which is great.
It seems like the young cornerbacks have blended in pretty well. I guess just what's gone into them adapting so straightforwardly to having bigger roles this year.
Yeah, I think Coach Shelby and Coach Burkett have done a heck of a job with that crew, getting them going. The amount of work that they have put into those guys behind the scenes is just unbelievable. And I think it's paying off with the confidence that those guys are playing with. We do things defensively to help them out, but also there's times, you know how it is, man. You got to be on that island all by yourself and earn your stripes. And they're doing a good job earning their scholarship check and their NIL check and getting themselves rolling. And so we appreciate them for that. They're doing a good job. And like we said, getting DJ back has been awesome. I think Jalil has come in and done a heck of a job making plays for us when we need it. So, like I said, a good thing about this team right now is they like to compete and we got depth. And so I think that's really coming through for them. And they're going to be in for a big challenge this week. And so they got to get their big boy pads on to be able to go against one of the best receiving corps in the country.
Dean Miller came back against Wagner. How important is it for that guy being a leader in that room, coming back before such a big game like Mizzou?
Yeah, I think the neat thing was, in his time out, he still did a great job with his leadership, but also that gave other people an opportunity to kind of step up and hear their voice heard. And I think that's kind of been a blessing in disguise for our team, is that not everybody just depended on Dean's being the only voice in there. I mean, I think of just tons of guys that we had able to step up and be a great voice for him. And then when you add that voice of Dean back in the group, now you got something really special. I think that's been really good. I think the energy that he played with was great, man. He was flying around, throwing his body around, and he kind of meshed in with how we played the first game. And I think he helped take it up another level. And I think there was a little light in everybody's eyes to see Dean back out there with us. I know the guys were really excited to have Five back there in the huddle and, just to kind of see his type of attitude that he plays with. So I'm glad he's back with us. I'm glad he's healthy, glad he's moving around. And like you said, I'm glad his leadership is back to guide us as we go into battle this week.
Jim Panagos talked about wanting the defensive tackle group to sort of be the engine of this defense, especially with all the guys that they had back. What have you seen from those guys so far?
Yeah, I think, in all my time, I've never been around a great defense that didn't have a great defensive line. So I think they're always the engine that goes. And so those guys have done a good job. A lot of those guys have been around for a while, played a lot of ball. And now I think they're trying to take their game to a next level, and I think you're seeing that a little bit with the effort they're playing with. I think they did a good job trying to dominate the first two games, line of scrimmage for us, giving us some freedom to, mix and match some different coverages. They're lining up a couple different spots, which is good for us too. And so the level in which they play, the level in which our defense plays, and so they are the engine. They are what we do, and so we really depend on them. They know that. But the amount of work that Coach Panagos puts into those guys is great. The level of commitment that he stresses from those guys is probably the best I've been around, in my career. So he's a heck of a coach, and those guys really buy into what he's saying.
You mentioned how big of a challenge Missouri is going to be this weekend. How much of a benefit was it having a couple of games already to figure out what you have, essentially?
Well, it's always a great benefit just because you get to know yourself. And I think, in college football, unlike the NFL, you got preseason in the NFL, you kind of figure out who you are. But in college football, you really don't know who you are. So you got to get out there and play a little bit to find out who you are. And I think we found out about ourselves. And we found out, through the injuries, who our depth is, and those guys can really play. So I think more than helping us with Missouri, I think we've really found out who we are, through this little first 2 games, and that can help us build what type of defense we are, how we want to play, what we expect from each other, our communication, our alignment, our assignment, our technique, all that stuff, really becoming good, and we really found out who we are, and we'll continue to grow and know our opponent every week.
Anything else for Coach McDonald? Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate you.